This is the video. This is the welcome to the Gestures Gaming Update Podcast here with episode 23. Before we start this episode, we have an advertisement from our sponsors. But be sure to tune in live to Gesture TRT Twitch live debate show where we touch upon current affair topics such as gun control and what our guy Trump is up to with their video games. We're live on twitch.tv/GestureTRT Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern. And now we're going to return to our show where we have an extended gap of time where we've been, since we've been live last. We've been MIA for an extra week this time, so we have a bit of news to catch up on before we dive into our new news. And I am echoing, and I do not like it. I believe it's coming from your end.
It can't be coming from my end. And also, did you really just sponsor yourself?
Yes, I did. I sponsored myself. You don't like my sponsoring?
I love it. I think it's amazing. But is your echo coming from, do you have Mixer turned on?
No, I'm not watching myself currently.
Can't think. I'm not hearing it, so. When you're in my headphones.
Well, that would mean a good reason where it's coming from. Anyway, we'll move on. So.
Testing my limits, No Man's Sky over there.
Yeah, hold on, it's not working here.
Technical issues, which is also sponsoring us tonight as Technical Issues.
There, it's working now. I got it.
Technical issues can be found throughout this podcast today because we've missed an extra week.
We have, so now we're going to get caught up, and our first one is with No Man's Sky Beyond, which brings social gathering and new multiplayer experience to the game along with the VR mode, which is coming out in a couple days actually, next week, August 14th. So, No Man's Sky is probably the biggest redemption game of history. The game that came out, it did bad, it got flopped, did terrible.
Oh yeah.
And they were the only game developer that did not give up on their game, and they put so much work in, and they probably made their game one of the, like right now, I think it could have won Game of the Year if it launched right now. They put so much work in, they made their game an amazing game. It has a huge fan base behind it, the fan base it should have had. This game became highly popular now, and they constantly put out all these new updates are coming out. Like they had No Man's Sky Next, which brought the game to the next level, pun intended. And then No Man's Sky Beyond they have now. And with the VR mode, the new planets, the new stuff they're adding, they're also allowing you to milk aliens, which will be kind of interesting. A new little dive into some extra things that they can go on and do. So this will be...
Did you say milk aliens?
Yeah. You don't like milking those aliens?
Well, when we do the Area 51 raid, of course, that's what we're going to have to do, is we're going to milk all the aliens. That's where I'm going. That's the only thing I need to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting concept. I kind of really, I like it. I like what they're doing. All the new things that I've read about it so far, it's looking cool. So we're going to be streaming that live probably next weekend.
This comes out next week. This comes out Tuesday. Yes?
It actually comes out Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday?
Yeah, they switch it up. It'll be out Wednesday. I'm going to pick it up, and probably Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday, I will be live streaming it on twitch.tv/GestureTRT, just like when Next came out.
Let me just update my release date on my release date schedule for later, so I don't say the wrong one.
Yeah, get it knowing that it's next week.
All right, so that sounds like a kid. Is this a paid DLC? Is it a free expansion?
So I forgot that none of their DLC, none of their expansions, their add-ons, none of them have been paid for. Everything that they've done, you bought the game, everything they do is free, which makes them one of the greatest developers. They don't charge you nickel and dime you for it. They're putting all this work in their game, and they put everything out for free.
I think the only other one who does that is Rockstar with Grand Theft Auto. Everything for that's been free as well. That's the only...
I don't know. They put out a lot of microtransactions in there.
Well, I mean, there's microtransactions, but I mean, the actual content itself, like this whole casino expansion they just did, being the most recent example, completely free, and, I mean, of course you have to have in-game currency, so I guess there could be a microtransaction, but the base itself. I wish more companies would take the lead and do that. But
Yeah.
what do we got on our agenda here?
Next is you're taking it away with one of your topics here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm sure you all heard the news. Start spreading the news. Walmart. And this is, we're going to touch upon a little bit more of this on our... Since we're now sponsored by Jester Talk at the Roundtable, as they're one of our sponsors for this podcast, I feel like it's our obligation to also promote their show. And this Sunday, this may not be a topic this Sunday, but it might be. But so on the political side, we will explore more of on that show. But for this particular gaming podcast, we're not going to discuss the politics part of it right now. But Walmart has decided in their lovely wisdom that they would decide to ban promotional content that includes violent displays. So if you are... Say you're releasing the latest Call of Duty game and you send Walmart a crap ton of promotional posters, some video trailers, and all that stuff to air on their Walmart network. Walmart's not doing any of it. They're not going to hang the promotional posters. They're going to turn off the TVs while the promotional videos are playing. And this is to combat the recent gun violence taking place, with the recent shootings in different places, such as Walmart, where there was one. Which one was the Walmart one? That was in... There was 2 Walmart ones this week, wasn't there? There's been so many. I'm not following the news, to be honest with you. But yeah, basically the whole thing now is it's getting to the point where this is where we are. We are banning promotional displays for that reason. So, I don't mean to laugh at the situation. I mean, I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at the fact that, this has been something that's been said since the 1980s, that when you had the original Metal Gear Solid that was just pixelated at nothing, and people were saying that was contributing to violence, and Doom in the early 90s and things like that, and
Pong in the early 70s.
Oh yeah, Pong. That's one of the most violent games in history.
I think so. That's what started it.
What they should ban is Mario Party, because that makes friendships explode.
I could say.
No, but seriously, this is where we are with that, and it's just some Walmarts are actually refusing to comply with it because they think it's BS, and but you have to look at it from the other side too, where the other side being these companies who send these promotional these gaming. It's not just gaming either. The movie companies are also suffering because Walmart, if it's a violent movie, if it's a war movie, they're not going to play the trailer on their Walmart network now.
Are they doing war movies too? Last time I saw it was all about just video games.
Mm-hmm. And in Walmart, any of their content that can be advertised, as far as that includes violent advertisements. So it's kind of silly, but it's also like I said, these companies, these studios, these movie studios, these game companies, they have a huge advertising budget when they're pushing these games. So even though you and I know what Call of Duty is and everything like that, there's some people out there who may not, and the only way they know about it is by seeing the poster in Walmart. And now they're not going to see that poster because Walmart thinks it's going to cause mass problems. So it's ridiculous because now these companies are going to be losing more money by paying for advertisements that aren't going to be seen, and not by people's choice. So I'd be pissed if I spent say $1 million to have an ad campaign specifically running in Walmart, and then Walmart's like, nope, I'm not doing that.
True, but at the same point, it is Walmart. I mean, Walmart's game selection was lacking anyway. I feel Game Store is better for it, so I don't see it too much. I would, as a game developer, I would just pull out of Walmart completely and wouldn't even send it.
And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think going forward, that is something we may see. If Walmart and other stores, Walmart seems to be the only store doing this, but if other stores follow suit, a lot of big game studios, that's exactly what they're going to do. If you're not going to display, if you're not going to cooperate, because a lot of these a lot of these companies, they pay for that shelf space. Some of them have agreements with Walmart to pay for X amount of shelf space, to pay for like top tier, like, you know, I know what I was trying to think of one of the companies that does, but my brain just froze there. But you know, they pay for that shelf space. They're not getting it. Walmart's not living up to their end of the deal. They'll pull it out, you know. And Walmart's not going to give a crap because they're still going to make money on something else. But you know, if enough companies do it, it will start sending a message. So that's kind of what I'm actually hoping to see happen. I'm hoping to see these gaming companies, you know, stick to their roots and be like, you know, screw you. We got a digital storefront. We got GameStop. We got, you know, the independent game stores. We don't need your crap. We got Target. We got Best Buy.
It's true.
They ain't doing this crap.
Amazon's the biggest game seller now.
Yeah, we got Amazon.
Amazon or digital? Digital's taking over.
Yeah, I just was going to share this later on. For the first time ever, PlayStation Digital Store surpassed physical copies in their last quarter. PlayStation made more money on their digital, which is the first time that's ever happened in the history of PlayStation Store.
And it seems it's the way it's going to keep going with the change and how we're going more digital. And they're even talking about getting rid of the optical disc drives in their consoles now.
Well, that's what I said. I think next console, I think PS5 and, you know, Xbox Scarlet are going to be the last consoles that actually have a physical disc thing. And I think what's going to happen is mid-console generation, say 2023, 2022, we're going to see PlayStation, you know, Sony's going to release a version that has no disc. They're just going to do
what they said.
Yeah, it's still going to be the PS5, but it's going to just be an upgrade to where it doesn't have. Now, what makes me wonder is how they're going to incorporate the backwards compatibility, because that's one of their big selling points. So that I don't know yet, but moving away from that, speaking of kind of controversial subjects, Twitch in general. I know I'm on Mixer right now because we're protesting Twitch. No, I'm not protesting. But you know, some people are protesting Twitch, and I think that causes a good discussion piece quickly, because I'm not going to go into exactly what was said, but you know, Twitch's Golden Girl. We all know her as Twitch's Golden Girl, Amaranth. She has a little bit of controversy this week because she said a certain phrase that people seem to think was something else, and she's saying she was only saying in the grocery store. So, for those of you who aren't following, she basically allegedly dropped the N-bomb followed by the word store. And I can't say on this podcast what the N-bomb is, but y'all know, you're not stupid, y'all know what it is.
You can say with, she was trying to say, when she stumbled on her word, she was trying to say the bigger store.
Originally she said the grocery store, so now it's the bigger store, so.
That's where I guess she was trying to say that.
Big, make sure, I'm enunciating, big.
Yeah. She was talking about there's one store, and then she's trying to go down, there's another store that's an even bigger store that she wanted to go to, and then she stumbled on her words, and pow.
Well, originally she was saying she was trying to say in the grocery store.
Yeah.
So now it's a whole...
all the same.
So,
it's all a matter of just one word.
So, okay, here's my thing. Even if it was pronounced incorrectly, and it was misunderstood, funny thing is, there's people who've been banned for that. I can't think of the guy... There's people who've been banned for a lot less, but there was this one guy, I can't remember his name, I was just looking it up, but I should have wrote it down. He had said something, he was playing a game and said, these effing idiots, and the way he said idiots sounded like a derogatory slur somehow. I have no idea how, but it did, and Twitch banned him for like 30 days. All for that. She does essentially the same thing, and I'm not singling her out exactly, but you know, she has done some interesting things, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched her stream the other day, and she was eating a cheeseburger in bra and panties. So,
yeah. I
mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. I don't care if you're going to eat a cheeseburger in bra and panties, but my concern, though, is if you as a company are going to be banning people for doing similar things, then do it across the board, not just by those who don't choose to not ban those people who are actually making you money, which is what it all comes down to. She's making them a ton of money, so I think if she didn't have that cash flow coming in, she would be banned.
I mean, it's not just her too. You can look at the Alinity thing that went on just was it 2 weeks beforehand too?
She the one who threw her cat, or
yeah, she threw the cat and she gave it vodka and
there's another one who just like literally punched her dog in the face, and I can't remember her name, but she's getting a lot of crap for it on. Twitter is lighting her up right now, calling her like the biggest POS on the planet.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
And then it was funny, that's not funny, the situation, but a video surfaced of her saying, from about 2 years ago, where she was saying, as far as training your animal, it's never okay to hit your animal because they're going to associate that with a bad behavior and they're not going to learn what they're doing. So she's going on about how you should never hit your animal, and then here she goes, she whacks her animal in the face. Like, didn't you just say that you should never? No. But yeah, that's Twitch for you right now, and that's why a lot of people are, jumping the gun and going to Mixer and other platforms. But I'm gonna wrap that up because you got Star Trek and Outer Worlds news to get in, and I don't want to take up too much more time here because we're 20 minutes in here. I didn't realize how.
Oh yeah, we are. Wow, I didn't realize it went that fast. So, Star Trek. We already know Picard is coming back for a TV show. We talked about this a few weeks ago on our podcast that it was pushed back. It's supposed to be out in November this year. They're pushing it to 2020. So, but with that, they're making this year a Star Trek Picard comic and a novel prequels that hit before the shows air. So CBS has partnered with IDW Publishing, and they're doing gallery books to bring forth prequels that's going to lead up to the show. The first to launch is a comic book miniseries called Star Trek Picard Countdown, which is the beginning of the installment arriving in November, and it's going to run from November until January. The novel is going to be Star Trek The Last Best Hope, which will follow. It's set to come sometime in February, right after the comic ends. It's going to pick up the story from the comic into a novel. The novel intends to lead right into the show and introduce many of the new characters that are going to be on screen. So that's what they're doing. Because it's been, 30 years since Star Trek ended, a 30-year gap between...
Oh, wow. Has it really been?
Yeah, 70s to 2020, pretty much.
Oh, damn. So which Star Trek? Is this like a whole new Enterprise? I made a pun and didn't realize it. But no, this is. I mean, this is like a whole new. So there's not going to be. I imagine there's not going to be any tie. Is there any tie into like the previous iterations of Star Trek, or is this a whole new
Just the one. There's the one with Picard, The Next Generation. That one that followed the 8 seasons, I believe it was, with Picard. How it ended, they're taking that ending and it's 30 years later or so, and they're showing these books and the comics going to show what happened in between and lead up to the new movie and our TV show. And this TV show is going to be 10 episodes long, and they're going to, not individual stories like their old TV show was, it's going to be 10 episodes, one story that they're trying to...
So kind of like a mini-series almost, where it's like a continuation from... Yeah, that's actually might be the way to go, because that's going to probably lead to a movie, if it doesn't.
Possibly. I think this is them wrapping up Picard's story, though. This is, because the way they ended the TV show, and now they're going in and touching upon it more. People were really big on Picard, and now they're going to...
But if it does well, how can you wrap up the story and then just leave people hanging?
That's true. It all depends on what happens to Picard in the end of this TV show.
Or they could just, he'll have an illegitimate son born in a pod that can...
It's possible that might be their way of going into the next...
I mean, it could be something like that. That would be like someone takes over and then it's still that...
Yeah,
Stranger things have happened, and
Stranger Things. But
speaking of Stranger Things, how far are you? No kidding.
I finished.
Oh wow, damn, you go. I'm on season 3 of Glow now, so here we go. Alrighty, so we got Star Trek, which is out of this world for Outer Worlds.
Which, if you're watching this live, I have the trailer playing right now. This game, for the people who have been following, is from the developers of Fallout New Vegas.
Oh yes, I remember this.
Yeah, and if you've been watching the trailer or you've seen the gameplay, it looks exactly like Fallout, the old school Fallout, the way we love, not 76, but going back to old school. It has the same feel, the same gameplay, the same looks, everything around it. And I have a few different things. So the combat holds up without time. They add in what they call tactical time dilation, which is pretty much, when you've played the Fallout games, it's the VATS. It slows times down in real world and lets you, everything goes slow and you can line up your shots just like the VATS. That's their new version of it. So I'm bringing that in. Perks are important. This is going to be based on, it's going to be huge RPG aspects to it. However, the perks in the Outer World are especially worth calling out because of their impact they have on your playstyle. They're different from skills because you don't determine your aptitude or something. Instead, they give you different approaches to situations. Like, for example, if you really like using the TTD, then you can take a perk that makes it possible for you to stay in the state for longer. So all these perks can really, they change your playstyle. It's based on how you like playing. Like if it's pretty much like the attributes and the perks in Fallout, the same way as like that. You get two different things. Then you got there's humor everywhere. From when I was watching the trailer, they really like putting in the humor in the game.
It's like Fallout, but a funny version.
Yeah, a little bit more humor to it, lighthearted. And again, like Fallout, comparing it, you have your choices. Every dialect, you have a different tree, and it'll affect the outcome. Who's going to help you? Who's going to join you? Who's going to fight you? How you get through every situation? What kind of character do you want to play? Do you want to be evil? Do you want to be good? How are you going to achieve your goals? NPC interaction is huge in this game. Like, what happens if I kill the person in charge of a cult? Well, that's going to change the outcome of what goes on in that cult then. New person will take over. Maybe you'll end up taking over. Choices are big in this game.
So choices actually matter as compared to being predetermined and like so many other games where they're just they make you think your choices matter, but they don't really matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, this is going to be a huge open world, so in one point your choices won't really matter because you'll go to one town and you'll do all these choices, which will affect this town. Then once you leave, really, what is there?
What is...
In a way they matter, but in a way they don't really matter. You can still play how you want.
So then the only question that I have is, I'm kind of looking here, there's no co-op?
No, this is full single player.
Full single player.
Yeah, Outer Worlds saw Bethesda's touch on co-op and how they got hurt, and they're sticking to complete single player.
I'm wondering if that's going to remain to be single player, or if at some point they're going to be like, hey.
Nope, no touch, and they're not even touching online, because Obsidian, they've never done online games before. No co-op, they just like their single player games, so they're not even going to, there's not gonna
Which is good, though, too, because we need single player games, because everything is freaking, everything's battle royale anymore, or some sort of multiplayer.
I do like co-op, though. I do like that they're doing a lot more co-op type games. But I don't like these.
But it's nice to have the single player every once in a while to fall back on because there's not enough of those.
Yeah.
But what do we got? Also, we have.
You had something.
Oh yeah, I had quickly. Just want to touch upon this because we are getting closer to our time limit here. Borderlands 3. There was a whole drama where evidently there was. I don't know if you're familiar with the streamer Supmotto. I'm not familiar with who that is, but evidently he's a big streamer, and. So I guess he was playing some sort of demo or something of Borderlands 3 on his Twitch or something. And then there's a whole big thing where 2K sent these private investigators to his house because of they call it the equivalent of a dangling string and him pulling it and revealing something that was supposed to be private and not yet supposed to be seen. And so 2K is basically saying that he exploited something to where they revealed something they weren't supposed to reveal because it was like these in-game menus that weren't finished yet, and he found a way to exploit that particular string to pull it and reveal what wasn't yet supposed to be revealed. I don't know the exact specifics of it, but it's freaking crazy. I just wanted to mention it. Like, it's crazy that they're sending, but that's another thing. Some companies are very keeping their stuff very guarded, keeping it very, until the release date. They don't want anything to be, leaked that's not leaked by themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas other companies don't give a crap. So it's kind of that's all I had on that. You had some Call of Duty stuff to get into.
Skip that due to our time restraints. It's not that big, so we're going to go right into your controversial topics, I think.
I think I discussed most of them, so pretty much that. I covered it all with the Twitch thing and I don't want to go any more controversial because that was pretty heavy. The only other thing we had was Grand Theft Auto. 50 countries have banned the casino gameplay in Grand Theft Auto because they consider it gambling, even though it's not real money and you can't win any actual money. So countries like Afghanistan, Argentina, Belarus, China, Cyprus, Iceland, Israel, Jordan, Malaysia, North Korea, Poland, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, Thailand, Vietnam, and Venezuela have all banned.
All bonded.
All bonded. If only that is a topic for the debate show. Will those countries ever bond? That would be an amazing achievement. But yeah, I just wanted to touch upon that quick. And the only other thing that I know you had your random facts.
Oh yeah, so a few things. First, I have about 4 things here I'm going to go in. They're quick, just like 10 seconds each. Jim Carrey, he's against the Star Wars complaints. He says that let the artist team do their best and stop complaining, which I don't really agree with because complaining really makes when we don't complain, look at what we get for movies. They get trash. So when we complain...
Well, he was also upset that people complained about Sonic, and he's in it.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what he's saying now. The Sonic complaints.
I thought he said Star Wars.
No. He's complaining against the Sonic complaints.
I swear I heard Star Wars. I'm like, why are you saying Star Wars? Get Jim Carrey in Star Wars.
No, yeah. He's against the... he says let the artist team do their best, which is similar to the complaints we got from Game of Thrones, where the cast is unhappy because people from the cast are saying, stop complaining about the ending, blah, blah, that pretty much all these actors and all that getting in, they're saying we as fans, the only thing we're supposed to do is sit back and enjoy and watch it. We don't have creative development, which I completely disagree with. If we don't like it, we get the open speaker mind about.
Well, I see both sides, but the thing is also, if you don't say, if they don't listen to the audience isn't going to stick around.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't do everything the audience wants them to do because that would just be complete asinine and be 100% stupid. Like, there would be no point to every little thing. But if you don't listen to the general consensus, then you're going to be losing 1 million viewers each week. They'll say you have 15 million viewers to start, and then you go down to 2 million. Your show's going to tank.
For the big thing, Sonic design, no one liked that. So your movie's going to tank right at the beginning. So that's when you need to listen. You can't say, don't complain about it. If no one's going to watch it, you need to listen to the complaints.
And I know there's a topic for the debate show, but Jim Carrey's a total nutcase. I don't take anything he says at face value.
Lately. He used to be cool. Now he's going a little crazy lately.
I miss 90s Jim Carrey. I miss pre-Aliens Overtook My Mind Jim Carrey. It's just...
Yeah. Our next one, since we're out of time, EA, I don't know if you've heard about this. EA's arguing that Switch owners would generally prefer to play their games elsewhere. I
was reading this, Well, the thing was with EA, I I see what they're saying, because a lot of what they're saying makes sense. You know, if you own a Switch, a lot of people also who own a Switch own one of the other consoles, because you know you are playing. Like for me, a lot of the big games I'll play on my PS4, because if they come out, the Switch version might be, not superior, inferior in comparison.
And that's one thing they touched upon. It's also a lot of other game developers like Bethesda. They said they like working with Nintendo, but they're going to branch away. They're not going to really work with Nintendo anymore. It's a lot of things are, the Switch is nice for portability, but it lacks the technology. So
that's what I mean. When that's why I've said in the past, when they do the next update with the Switch, when they release the next version of it, it's got to have more power, or else these companies are good. I know Nintendo doesn't want to do power, but the reality is that they are going to need to at least be able to run 1080p, 60 frames per second, no excuse.
Because that's the way that games are going. Like, especially now, like big developers, they're saying it's too much money and work to downgrade their games to fit on Nintendo. So that's why they're messing up. That's why if you're noticing, a lot of these big games aren't going to Nintendo anymore, because they're saying, like, it takes them a lot. They develop the game, and then they have to redevelop the game a second time to put on, and that's EA. I'm kind of seeing this as a cop-out. They're saying, EA is saying, well, people buy your games, but they don't buy it on Nintendo. They buy it other consoles. I see for them.
I mean, the other reason, it is kind of, because the other reason is, so release this inferior version, like they're releasing what they call a legacy version, which would be like the Xbox 360 version on the Switch, and they're getting away with saying, oh, this is the version we're releasing, and then no one's buying it because it's the equivalent of buying it on the 360.
Yeah.
So, of course no one's buying it, because you're making it very last generation when people, don't want that.
Yeah.
And, EA is garbage.
EA, how they're backing out, Hello Games is actually talking about their interest in the Switch, and they want to bring No Man's Sky onto the Switch now.
Oh, I don't know how that's going to work.
Could be good, could be bad. It'll be interesting on the go, but it's a full online game, so you really need internet every time you play it, so you can't really leave the house when you play it.
I mean, maybe throw out the panic button, because they know what they're doing. These frickin'... Or the people who did Rocket League, because they know what they're doing too, so...
Wait, for the game porting, or what do you mean?
Yeah, for the porting. Well, for the porting, because, if you look at a lot of what Panic Button did with, like, Doom and Wolfenstein, those frickin' play amazing on the Switch, and there's no reason they should. I mean, they're graphically downgraded, but yes, they still... They play how they're supposed to play. But, before we get into release dates, do you have any other little fun facts?
Last thing, tariffs. We already know this is going to be a debate topic we're going to talk about, but for game-related things... this already states that the price of video games and hardware and consoles are going to skyrocket. So Switch had a good time coming out with Nintendo had a good time coming out with their Switch, because Sony already put out something that says when with the tariffs through, their prices are going to go up. They're already saying they estimate their consoles probably not even going to outsell the PlayStation 3 now. The PlayStation 5, they're saying it's probably going to break even a little bit under the PlayStation 3 in general sales because of this tariff thing. So
it's only going to get worse from here. I mean, it's like you said, it's a very much topic for the debate show, because it's a lot of political things behind it. But especially if a lot of the politicians get their way with wanting to ban video games and wanting to put more restrictions on M-rated video games, we might see the pendulum, swing in the wrong direction.
All three, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, all agreed it's bad, and they all announced that it's going to hurt this is going to be the worst generation for consoles with the tariffs going through. They don't think any of theirs are even going to touch their old the sale rates. The Switch already got a big head start because they've been out before the tariffs, but they're even saying that their sales are going to slow down, and they're not going to end the way they want to reach. Nintendo was trying to get to the top 3, beating Sony out. They don't think they're going to get there now because of the tariffs. Sony says their PlayStation 5 is not going to even break PlayStation 3.
I mean, it's something we're going to see how it plays out, because I'm curious to see, if they're trying to do the slow death of the gaming industry. I don't know. Yeah. But we got, closing out the show, we got August releases. I'm not talking about what came out a week ago already, because I don't even know. Nothing major came out in the first week of August. So we got, on the schedule, we got August 13th, we got Friday the 13th on Nintendo Switch. August 14th, We have No Man's Sky Beyond on the PC, Xbone, and PS4. August 16th, I have no idea what this is, but it's Zeus Begins. I think it's on PC. August 22nd, we got Life is Strange 2, Episode 4. And something called I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, Aninaki for PC, PS4, and Switch. August 27th gives us Bard's Tale 3 Director's Cut, PS4 and Xbox. August 27th, one that you were hyping up, WoW Classic. And also, we got Wreckfest, which is something I'm checking out, but don't know what it is. And August 30th, one that I'm hoping to get my Game Pass for Xbox, Blair Witch.
I knew it. I was waiting.
And that's all we got, and that's what we got for August. So I don't know what you guys are looking forward to playing, but as far as me, it's going to be Blair Witch. I have Wreckfest in my GameFly. I know you're probably going to be on your WoW streaming that.
Yeah, probably jumping on WoW, and I'm definitely getting Blair Witch on PC.
And No Man's Sky.
And No Man's Sky is going to be next week, so I guess next week it'll be No Man's Sky until WoW Classic comes out, and then I'll be switching between WoW and Blair Witch until Borderlands 3, and then Borderlands 3 until Breakpoint, and oh man, this is rough.
Yeah, my GameFly is loaded. I barely like to do physical anymore, but on my GameFly literally has like 30 different games in the queue for the rest of this year. I'm like, Jesus. So
yeah.
It's only going to get worse when 2020 rolls around.
There's so many games coming out.
All right, take us away with our closing song.
And this has been Gesture, TRT, and TG Lord Shamrock here with this week's episode. So until then, tune in again next week and check us out live or on YouTube, and we'll see you then. And closing intro.